Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for this video, I just want to show you the process of me putting together my little scrap therapy book. And so for this year, I really wanted to start a scrappy kind of sort of daily habit, and I really enjoyed when I was working in my scrap therapy album, and so I think I'm going to do that. But I also wanted to do like a memory planner as well, and so I'm like still on the fence about that, but definitely want to do the scrap therapy. And I kind of went back and forth with I guess the size of my book. When I did it before, I did it in a Felicity Jane binder, or the Felicity Jane planners, but I use it as a binder, and that is a 5 size. I was considering doing a 6x8, like I made one of these little books, like one of these little cover with the rings in a 6x8, because I'm just like, I'm gonna do 6x8, and then for some reason I kept being drawn back to this that I have right here. These are the inserts from a Maggie Holmes planner that I had purchased last year, and I purchased the planner just for the binder, and the binder ended up being the 4-ring system, and I actually changed it. I took out those 4 rings and I put in the standard personal size rings because I wanted to use that for a future Disney mini album. And so I took out all the inserts because these are the inserts that came in that planner, and they've just been sitting on my shelf since then. And the inserts that came in that planner aren't personal size. I think these are personal wide size. And I really like this size. It's almost, I think it's a little bigger than a B6, or it's about a B6. Yeah, it's 4.5 by 6 3/4, so it's a little smaller than a B6, but I really like the B6 size, and I really like this size of the personal wide. And so yeah, I figured that I can do my scrap therapy on these pages. So these pages they're planner pages. The dividers are all designs from the Maggie Holmes Bloom collection. So the color scheme and everything is all Bloom. I love that collection. I can always cover things up. And these are just planner pages. I'm still not sure if I'm going to do it weekly by the planner, like documenting weekly. My idea for this was maybe using the weekly pages for my daily gratitude, because I really wanted to start doing that, and I know it's like February already, but I really wanted to do a daily gratitude sort of thing. So I'm thinking I might merge that with the scrap therapy and maybe a little bit of memory planning all into this one book. And when it comes to the memory planning bit, I don't think I'm gonna, I guess, be so hard on myself to stick with the days chronologically, because that was an issue with me when it came to Project Life, was that I felt like I was behind because I didn't do anything that, to document anything that week, and I don't want this to be like that. So I think I just kind of, maybe some weeks I might follow the weekly format, and then maybe I just do something on the page whenever, whatever. It's undated, so it doesn't matter. But I figured I would repurpose these pages into a scrap therapy book. And so I already have some really pretty pink binder rings on this already. This has 4 holes, but I figured the 2 would be fine. I don't want the extra 2, but I do have more binder rings if in the event I need that extra 2. And so these are all the pages. And so what I want to make for that is a cover, and so I already trimmed down some chipboard. I think this is just from packaging that you get when you buy like papers. It comes like a thin chipboard. So I just cut it down to, I think this is a B6 size, both of them. And I think that'll be sufficient enough to be a cover here. And so I'm going to cover this with this white paper first, and then this fabric. So I want to show you something really, really cool. And so I have a lot of fabric, and I have a lot of different designs, but I didn't have anything that matched really well with the Maggie Holmes Bloom collection, which is what this is based off of. And so I decided to print off a paper pattern, one of my favorite paper patterns from the Bloom collection, on some fabric. And so I know I went online, you can purchase printable fabric sheets that you can feed through your printer, and I was going to do that on Amazon, but then I had an idea. So I have a lot of, let's see, I have a lot of Heat and Bond. I have like a roll, like a huge roll of Heat and Bond, and I use it all the time to cover up things, whether it's notebooks or chipboard to make little albums like this. I always use Heat and Bond with my fabric to cover up these materials. So I thought, I'm just like, maybe if I can cut down some Heat and Bond into 8.5 by 11 sheets that fit into my printer and iron it on to a piece of neutral fabric, and then feed it into my printer and see if it'll print the Maggie Holmes design on it. So that's what I did. I took some Heat and Bond, I cut 2 sheets out, 8.5 by 11, and then I adhered it, I ironed it on to some white linen. This is white linen. Trimmed the edges, making everything like really smooth, and then I fed it into my printer. And I have a Canon Pixma printer. I don't remember the number. You can see here, that's where the rollers kind of picked up the fabric because there's some inks there. But it printed the pattern onto the fabric, and it's awesome. I can just peel off the back and put it onto this. So this is fabric. This is fabric. This is a Maggie Holmes paper from her Bloom line. I love this design that I printed on this DIY fabric sheet. Now this one's a little different, like the coloring, because I printed this, the print setting that I had to print this page was just the regular copy paper print setting, and it printed like this. But then I decided to switch it to how I normally print out like my printables and stuff, which is matte photo paper. So I usually choose the matte photo paper setting to print off all of the digitals that I ever print, and it was more true to color than this. This is how the actual pattern looks on the computer screen. I think this is how the paper looks too when you buy the actual paper, and this one's a little bit washed out. So my printer actually had trouble gripping this one, and so when I had to print it over again, and so that's why it started printing here, and then it started printing on a sheet of paper, like copy paper, and so this part was all blank and that was there. So when I fed it in again, it had to reprint on top of it, and it's just a mess there, but it's fine because they're covering up these pieces here, and that, like, either way should be sufficient to just cover that up. And so yeah, I just wanted to share that a little bit of like just experimenting. If you have Heat and Bond in a roll, or I think they come in sheets too, but cut them down to 8.5 by 11 or whichever size that your printer takes, and just get this is just a thin cotton linen and it's white, and so that way it'll print the color on top. And yeah, I have my own fabric, like my own little fabric piece. Like literally I can just pull this off here if I can get the Heat and Bond backing off, and it's your regular, you know, Heat and Bond. I actually can iron this on to this piece of chipboard, but this is all fabric. It's all that linen texture. It's not paper. So I thought that was super, super cool. If you have some white linen and if you have some Heat and Bond, definitely try that out because that was really cool. I didn't think that it would work, but it totally worked. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to cover these chipboard pieces in this white cardstock, because if you can see here, you can see the chipboard behind it, because it's thin. It's a thin linen, and the Heat and Bond, even though it looks like this, doesn't do much. And so I'm going to put it on the white first and then wrap this around, but I'm going to wrap the white around and then wrap this around. And so that's what I'm going to do here. And I don't think can two pieces fit on one? Yes, but I need some space, so I'll probably have to use one sheet for one. And then wrap it around. And this is just gonna make, like, it's literally gonna make the covers thicker. So like this chipboard that I'm using is really bendable. It's like that chipboard that they put when you buy 12 by 12 sheets of paper. They put like I know scrapbook.com does it, puts a 12 by 12 like thin-ish kind of chipboard, and I always save them because you can always use them to make covers and to make little books like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up like this. Actually, I shouldn't probably do it in pen because you can see it. I think I am just going to use some double-sided tape for this, and I am just going to tape this guy down to this white paper and just trim off the excess, and basically I'm just covering it, at least the front, because the inside is going to be covered with a different paper that I actually haven't chosen yet. So yeah, we're going to choose that together. This is some new tape I'm trying out. I really like the score tape. It's my favorite, but it's really expensive. And I've been using the 1/4 inch scrapbook.com tape, which is actually really good. It's a 1/4 inch. I prefer a 1/2 inch, and scrapbook.com currently does not make their double-sided tape 1/2 inch like score tape does. And so I was searching for some score tape at a reasonable price, because I think like a roll of this size is like $7 or $8, and that's really expensive. And I came across scrappy tape, which is what I'm using right now. And so I actually did buy some score tape in case I did not like this. Scrappy tape. I bought score tape. So I think though the best double-sided tape that I've ever used when making these little mini album covers is actually the Frank Garcia, I think it's memory hardware tape or something like that. That tape, oh my god, the minute you put that tape down, it's not coming up at all. Like, there's no way that baby's coming up. And it's really good when adhering fabrics and adhering things to chipboard. And I think that's the purpose of it, is to make mini albums like that. So I think this is enough tape for this. And I'm just gonna line this up here. Now I could have easily painted this white, but I just didn't want to get my hands all dirty. I figured this would be easier just to cover it in paper. And this is a white cardstock. It is I think the 60-pound cardstock from Michaels. I like printing my stuff on the 110-pound cardstock, but this is like the one that comes in the bigger packs. And I also like to have some of it on hand, because sometimes you don't need something printed on 160-pound. Like if I'm going to print out paper that I'm going to use to cut up and layer, I would prefer printing it out on the 60-pound paper as opposed to the 110. But if I'm going to print out cards, like Project Life cards, I like using the 110. So I just folded that there like that. So that is this one, and I'm going to do the exact same thing with this one. So those are my covers. Now they're nice and white. So now I can take the heat and bonded fabric and I can put it over these covers now. So, like, I can easily get my iron and adhere it down, but I don't feel like doing that. So I'm just gonna tape it. I'm gonna tape it. Since this is the heat and bond, the tape will adhere better than it would like directly onto the fabric. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna tape it down, actually. So I'm gonna put some tape on this. I can also glue it if I want, but I think I'm just gonna tape it. So I have my covers here, and I went ahead and got some papers that I wanted to line the inside with. I think I'm going to go with this. I actually picked out two. This one is from the Maggie Holmes Style Board collection, and this one's from Bloom. This one actually shows up in the planner pages, and I actually was flipping through the planner pages. I was going to go with this one, and then I flipped through this, and I'm like, oh, I like this better. So I'm going to go with this one. And so I'm just going to cut them down. So I have one sheet here, because I think one sheet could cover both. So I'm going to cut it down to size. I'm actually going to probably cut it in half, and then cut it down. So this is going to be the back, and this one's going to be the front. And so, I don't know. Maybe I'm going to cut these down to 5 by 7 first. Right? 5 by 7. So let's do that first. So those are my pieces. I think I might need to trim it down just a little bit more. And then I'm going to round the corners, I think. So let's do that. And I'm only rounding the corner so that it just sits nicely. And yeah, so I'm just going to tape this down now. So I just put tape really close to the edge because I really want that edge to adhere down onto this. So that's why I did it really closely, and it's really difficult. I just gave myself a really big, nasty paper cut on some really thick paper on it's like 110-pound paper, and so that's but it's on my thumb, so it's making it hard to peel off the adhesive on like the backing on the adhesive. Okay. So that's one cover. And then I'm going to do the same thing for this one. Okay, so there goes my front and back covers. And yeah, I gotta punch the holes now, so I think what I'm gonna do is take one of these sheets out, and these inserts, they have two holes here and 2 holes here, so they have 4 holes, but I think I'm only going to do these 2 holes. So I'm just going to take one out and just kind of see how I want it to sit, and then punch my holes. Maybe something like that. And I'm doing the second hole. Oops. So this is a We Are Memory Keepers. I know it's a crocodile, but I think it's like the Mighty Punch or something. It only does the hole punch, and I think this is about a 1/4 inch hole, like a standard hole. And this baby it literally pokes holes through everything. So there goes my little scrap therapy book. It has an entire year of planner inserts in it. I'm not sure I'll decorate the cover now, because I feel like as I keep opening and closing the book, the cover might get a little bit messed up, especially since this is fabric, so anything that I adhere to it will have to be with like heavy duty adhesive to adhere to the fabric. So I think I'm going to leave it completely bare for right now. I'm not sure if I want to use the pink rings now. I kind of wish I had like a mint color ring, but I do have white. I have a white ring, so I'm actually going to go see how the white looks. So I have these white rings. A mint or yellow one would be really pretty though, now that I'm like looking at everything, because that pink is really light on the cover. But let's see how the white ones look. Yeah, I think the white rings look way better, so I'm gonna use the white rings and put the pink rings away. I probably should order some mint rings. I think they would look really cute, or yellow rings too. But yeah, I just got these from AliExpress. If I can find the link on my AliExpress account, I will leave it down below. You get like 6, I think, rings for like $1 something each. And these particular rings actually shipped way sooner than I expected them, so that's a plus. But yeah, so I'm gonna go with the white ones. And this is my little book here. I love it how everything is Bloom. So the pattern I use for the fabric is from Bloom, the inside is from Bloom, and then of course these are all Maggie Holmes Bloom planner inserts. So yeah, I will leave a link to, not this planner because this was, I think it was an exclusive for Ross, but I will leave a link to the flip through of the planner, the kit that it came in. You may be able to find it at a Ross or Etsy maybe, or eBay, I don't know. It was very elusive. Like I don't think American Crafts made a ton of them for sale, because like literally you can't find anything about this planner anywhere online. But yeah, I am going to see how this works for me. I probably won't end up using all of the pages. Like I said, I really don't want to be tied down to the weeks or a specific day, because that was a problem that I had with Project Life and even my memory planner. I really enjoyed working in the memory planner, but when I did fall behind, I fell behind, and I hate that feeling of falling behind. And so I'm probably not gonna, hopefully not stress myself out too much about the weeks. I don't even think I'm gonna date the pages. I am just going to work on top of them as I get to them. And then the way that these pages are laid out, each week is like 2 sheets with its own dashboard, the week, and then a back page. And so, you know, I can probably ignore this and just use it as, you know, a canvas. But I am going to keep the dividers in because I do want to separate my scrap therapy book by months at least. Like, I think my first one, I also separated it by month, and each month had like a nice little dashboard thing. But yeah, I want to keep it separated by month because I feel like that's the easiest. And then, of course, if I decide to do a weekly spread, then by all means, I do the weekly spread. And if I don't, it's completely fine. So that is my little book. I actually can't wait to start working in it. I have pictures already printed out, and so I think I'm gonna go back and do some pages in January with some photographs. I don't really care that I'm like what people say, like back planning or back memory planning or whatever it is. I'm just gonna fill out some pages in January with some photos that I have from January or from that time and stuff like that. So yeah, so that is my little book. I hope you enjoyed this little put together of the covers for it, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!